line's actually deeper here than probably.
Okay, here we go. Yes, okay, I'm at 10 Gray Street, which is the home of Bob McEnaney. And I'm here to basically talk about Bob's freeze-up, because we had a couple of other freeze-ups in Chelmsford this year. We had about 6 of them, in fact, quite a few. And a number of homeowners have requested to have their pumps insulated. So, Bob, can you tell us, just kind of tell us, how did your pump freeze up? How did that happen? And how long ago was it?
Well, I can remember it was many years ago. I'm going to guess around 2000.
Okay.
And my alarm went off in the winter, and of course I investigated it.
Were you living in the house at the time?
I was living at the house in my house next door here, where my daughter lives.
Okay.
And the alarm was going off, and I realized I was getting backup into my house from my grinder pump.
Did you notice that the pump was making any unusual noises?
No.
Oh, okay.
No, nothing other than the alarm.
How did you conclude that it was frozen?
Well, I called Mahoney.
Okay.
And Mahoney suggested that there's a frozen gooseneck.
Okay.
He also suggested I drop a drop light down the grinder pump.
It must have been pretty cold out.
It was very cold. It was windy. We didn't have a whole lot of snow, and I had the grinder pump for a year or so, maybe 2 winters. Never had a problem.
What time of year was it? Do you remember?
I can't remember.
But it was in the winter?
It was definitely winter.
Would you say the cover of the grinder pump was not covered with snow, or that?
The grinder pump cover was not covered in snow.
Oh, okay. And if you had to guess at how cold it might have been out, how cold would you think?
I would say 10 degrees, but I'm guessing.
Okay.
Totally
not
guessing.
Below zero, though, maybe.
Probably not below zero. No, I would say not below zero.
Oh, okay.
But so he said, get a drop light, lower it down, put it right beside the gooseneck, and he said probably in 15 minutes or so, put your alarm back on.
Yeah.
And see if it hasn't cleared.
Okay.
15 minutes later, I went out. I turned my alarm back on.
Yeah.
And it was silence.
Do you remember if you had cut power to the unit with the circuit breakers?
I did cut power to it because he, of course, recommended that.
Okay.
The pump's trying to work.
Right.
And it's not, pumping anywhere.
A number of pumps we had this year were damaged and had to be replaced. And the reason is because the power was applied to the pump and it just kept trying to pump.
Sure.
And that act damaged the pump. But in your case, it seemed as though the pump was not damaged.
Well, in my case, it was, we were home, number one, fortunate enough to be home.
Yeah.
The alarm went off.
Yeah.
I'm sure it was running, that pump was running for 15, 20 minutes while I did what I could to try and find out the problem.
So it was still on for
Mahoney,
quite a while.
like I said, Mahoney did say, shut the power off.
Okay.
Drop a drop light.
Yeah.
Then go back down there in 15 minutes, throw the power on, and wait and see if the alarm cleared. That's actually what happened.
Do you remember?
And sure enough, 2 or 3 minutes later, the alarm stopped and everything was flowing right and pumping correctly.
Do you remember what time of day it was when the alarm went off?
Yeah, it was at night.
It was at night.
Yeah. I remember I used a drop light to see what I was doing before I lowered it into the cavity.
And in the day before when it happened, you were still living at home? You weren't away from the house? You hadn't come back from a vacation or a weekend away or anything like that?
Nope, I was home, and
all the freeze-ups we've had this winter that I'm aware of, the homeowner was away from the house for a number of days, then returned to the house, used water to find that it was frozen.
No.
But it sounds like in your case, you were actually living in the house the entire time.
That's right.
Okay.
That's right. So,
that is...
So I called Mahoney back, and I just said, hey, voila, you are absolutely right, that's it.
Yep.
And he suggested that I take a big trash bag, fill it up with some insulation. He said you could use anything.
Yeah.
Newspapers, insulation, and for that matter, leaves. Dry leaves. Anything to.
Well, that's why we're here, is because you have insulated your pump, and we have a number of people who want to insulate their pump. So we want to get your advice on doing that.
Right. Well, since I'm guessing around 2000.
Yeah.
no freeze-ups. So
Okay.
that's one good thing I can say. So
Yeah. Let's take a look at what you have here.
Okay.
Is that, I see that the black plastic bag down there.
Yep.
Is there anything special about that?
No, it's just a heavy-duty contractor's trash bag.
Okay, I did talk with the people at FRMahony, or E1, I can't remember who, and they gave some advice about making sure that that bag doesn't block the venting or the breathing. And I think in this case, I think it's going to be this piece right here. If I'm not
Right,
mistaken,
that's
that might
right.
be a breather.
This is a breather.
Yeah.
Right. It has a tube goes down.
This
of
is
course,
this looks like a Series 2000, is that right? Do you know?
I have no idea.
It's
idea.
not the Extreme. It's different than the one I have. In mine, there would be something called the equalizer. It looks like a big discus.
Yep.
In yours, I think that breather performs the same function. He said you want to make sure that it doesn't cover that or obscure that, because that needs to
That's right.
interact with the atmosphere that's above where you're insulating it.
That's right.
So I can see here that the bag is pushed down. What do you have in this bag right now?
I have paper. I use paper.
And how long has that paper been in there, would you say?
Oh, the paper's been in there for
You haven't changed it or
a long
anything?
time.
Or?
No.
Oh, it's just whenever you set it up and it's still working.
Yep. Yep.
And in this case, the bag, I noticed...
I have actually I have a bag
okay.
within a bag. So, you know, I mean, after a while, pulling it up,
Yeah?
you know, when you pull it out, the bag tends to rip a little bit.
Oh, okay.
Not that you pull it up often,
Yeah.
but, and that's it.
Okay. Yeah, I
Oh,
just got to hook
and
that back on.
I got to hook that back up. The hook,
Yeah.
yeah, the hook came down.
Oh, yeah. Okay, so let's take a look at the bag here. This looks like you've got quite a bit of stuff in there.
Yeah, I have brown bags. I have some plastic demolish bags. Anything that will help insulate it. You know?
Yeah, that's a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
Okay, great. Well, I want to thank you for showing us that, because I want to find some of the other people who had a freeze up, and I want to set them up with an insulated bag so they won't have a problem next winter.
Great.
So thank you very much.
I'm glad I could be of help.